You're listening to XVGM Radio.
You know me, the fighting freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkins in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back them up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying, you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear. It probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery. Just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. Our ghosts try to approach me and got leery. Ask him a question and he vanished in a second. I'm walking through valleys, crying pumpkins in the alley. Didn't seem happy, but they sure tried to get me. Had to back them up with a fist metal crackle. I'm hearing someone saying, you a chicken, don't be scared. It had to be the wind, cause nobody wasn't there. I searched and I searched as I climbed up the wall. And then I started to fly, I went in deeper. Let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I sense it in my feet. The great emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I gotta hold my head, I have no fear. It probably seems crazy, a graveyard theory. A ghost try to approach me, he got leery. Spooky up in here, it's crazy in here. We still gon' keep it going, I'm Knuckles. Nobody scares me. Whoever want it, bring it. I don't care, we can do this. Then come step up to the plate and meet your match. It ain't no thing.
Welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Mike.
And I'm Justin.
And this is episode 37, Spooky Fest 2019. Yes, we are back for another Halloween festival of the ages. We're ready to jam out to some rockin' spooky tunes.
So happy to be here again this year in the same backyard.
In the same location, same spot.
Yep.
We didn't get those plane tickets like we talked about last year. Get those plane tickets to come visit you in
Nobody
your...
reached out. I don't know why. Maybe this year will be the year.
Maybe. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Tom Cruise will reach out and be like, yo, play my house.
Yeah, man. I'd play Tom Cruise's house. That'd be dope. Today, on the agenda, we are going to play for you some spooky songs.
From some spooky games.
That's right. And much like last year, the games are going to range. They're not always going to be super spooky, but maybe the tracks will be. Or maybe the song will be less spooky, but the game will be spooky. Spooky.
There you go.
We obviously came in with a spooky track.
Super spooky track.
Oh yeah, that was Sonic Adventure 2. It came out on the Dreamcast and GameCube in 2001. The track was called A Ghost Pumpkin Soup, also known as Pumpkin Hill Theme. It's by Fumie Kumatani, Tomoya Ohtani, Jun Senoue, Kenichi Tokoi, and the vocalist, the rap artist on this is Hunnid P. His actually name is Hunnid%.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's funny because in the beginning of the song he claims to be Knuckles, so I wasn't expecting his name to be Hunnid P.
That's a good point. I always thought his name. I thought
now feel
like
lied to.
Yeah, right. Like I thought that this was Knuckles, but I guess we were all lied to.
Well, you learned something new.
Yeah, true story.
But good track.
Yeah.
Good, fun game. I mean, we've covered it somewhat recently.
We did. We covered it on the Dreamcast episode. It was actually our opening track with the City Escape song. So
Gotta be running around at the speed of sound.
it's true.
But yeah, no, it's a fun game, and this track is definitely silly.
Super goofy. I love it.
I mean, the level's pretty silly too. I mean, it's Pumpkin Hill. It's just a hill covered in pumpkins. There's so many pumpkins.
Oh my goodness, so many pumpkins. Yeah, the whole thing is like you're playing. These are like Knuckles levels.
Yep.
And so you're playing as Knuckles, like flying around, which Knuckles can do. Did you ever think like
He doesn't fly, he glides.
He glides, but still, like, did you ever think that like looking at Knuckles that he'd be able to glide with just the power of his fists? I mean, really, come on.
No, he's got the webbing between his arms, and
No, he doesn't.
he doesn't fly with the power of his fist.
He doesn't have webbing. Where's his webbing?
It only comes out when he glides.
He's not
He goes
Spider-Man.
like this. Yeah.
No,
Right.
I don't believe you.
Listen,
I'll have to look it up. That would be really weird. I can't picture Knuckles with webbing.
It's the only explanation I could ever come
No,
up with.
man, the
That's not
power of
true.
Knux.
No. I
You-
will
you just-
I will lose all faith in this entire series if that turns out to be true.
Hey, you'll still be able to roll around with the speed of sound.
That's fair.
So, there's that. Let's talk about Hunnid P. Since we already talked about the game, go back to our Dreamcast episode and listen. We talked a bunch about our memories with it, and the Dreamcast episode was a lot of fun, so go listen to that. So Hunnid P is an American rapper. He's also a record producer and a singer. And his real name is Emmanuel Armugam. And so he started out doing management for Bone Thugs and Harmony, the rap group.
wow.
Yep. And then I guess how he came into performing for Knuckles' theme song is, which this is technically Knuckles' theme song, is his label was reached out to from Sega's record label, which was Wave Master Records. So they got in touch with him and wanted to have him be on the track. He has also said that he would love to do a Sonic Adventure 2 concert for fans.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So fans, get on the horn and let's get Hunnid P out there so we can listen to
do
Pumpkin
interview
Hill
with him.
live. Yeah. Yeah, just on this one song. We'll just play this one song
10 times.
10 times, yeah. And an intro.
Little piece of trivia: his favorite Sonic characters are Knuckles and Sonic.
Well, that makes
that
sense.
order, yeah.
Knuckles and Sonic, yeah. Yeah. The composers, Fumie Kumatani, I'll list just a few games. Nightshade in 2003 did the background music on that. That was the Shinobi Reboots sequel. Sort of like sister sequel. And that came out in 2003. He also did work on Shinobi, the reboot, as well in 2002, the previous year. And Sonic Unleashed in 2008, he was the music composer on that, as well as Sonic Colors in 2010. Tomoya Ohtani has been a longtime Sega composer, starting off with Choo Choo Rocket in 1999, which we talked about on that Dreamcast episode as well.
We did.
Space Channel 5 Part 2 in 2002.
We also talked about it.
Also talked about it. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing in 2010. They're credited for CS1 R&D sound. And let's see, one more. Sonic Forces in 2017. They're the sound director and lead music composer on that one.
So Jun Senoue started doing all sorts of fun things on Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in 1994. They were on the Sega sound team. So they were on the Sega sound team for a number of things, which is why I said that they did a whole lot of fun things. They did music and remix on Daytona USA Deluxe in 1996. They did music arrangement on Super Smash Bros. Brawl in 2008. One more, they also did arrangement on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2018. Who didn't?
True.
Meanwhile, Kenichi Tokoi started out doing music and remix on that Daytona USA Deluxe in 1996 that I mentioned. Also did music composition on Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut in 2003, which should follow with music composition in 1998 for Sonic Adventure, the
Right.
original.
Yeah.
Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing in 2010. They were also listed as CS1 R&D sound. Sonic Generations in 2011, remix artist and composer. And then finally, they were an additional composer on Sonic Forces in 2017.
Cool. So, yeah, this track is super silly. I love the vocals. Just, I don't know. They fit and they don't fit. And that's what's weird about it. Because, like, you listen to it and especially if you've played the level, like, I can't think of anything else that would fit better. Because the beat is obviously a really good rap beat. It's got that delayed kind of piano. I guess you would call that a piano. Dun 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 dun. But it's got like this slight echo on it. Then once the vocals come in, it's got that backbeat, that hip hop backbeat that just really kind of sustains it well. And overall, I think the track is a hit. It's a little bit silly as far as the vocals themselves go, but again, rapping about Knuckles, you know.
I mean, you can't go wrong until the 11,000th time that you hear it. And
True, and you will hear it a lot because you're just running around grabbing pumpkins and trying to find the Chaos Emerald, and
and as long as you're in that level, the song just plays on loop.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's move on to our next pick. So this is from a game called The Haunting of Magnolia Manor. This is a PC exclusive game, and it came out in 2011. This track is called Frantic Haunting, and it's by Big Giant Circles. welcome back to Spooky Fest. I think the crowd really dug that one. That was The Haunting of Magnolia Manor that came out on the PC in 2011. That track was Frantic Haunting, and it's by Big Giant Circles.
The biggest.
The biggest. So this is a Flash exclusive game. It's on Kongregate.com's website, Kongregate with a K.
I used to get a lot of games on my phone through them.
Yep. So you can play this right in the browser itself, and it's a neat little title. So I'll read the description first, just so you can get a sense as to what it is and everything. Several decades after your death, pesky living meatbags have decided to hold a party in your old estate. Your restless ghosts will stand for nothing of the sort. It's time to scare them all off. Use various powers to give those intruders a frightful night they'll never forget. The Haunting of Magnolia Manor is a strategy game in which you try to use various abilities to frighten off guests from your old estate. During each level, you are given a planning phase and then the actual gameplay phase. During the planning phase, you place abilities that you feel will be the most effective. During the actual gameplay, you activate other abilities to get your job done. So, for example, you can trigger a ghost, which you can put in any of the rooms, and the rooms get bigger and bigger as you kind of go. Yeah. You're trying to determine where would be the best place for the ghost to haunt, because the ghost can only tackle like one at a time. And then as the levels increase, you get more and more powers. I think it's up to 6 total, or maybe like 5, and then the ghost power. I'm not sure, but like for example, one of the power-ups, you possess somebody, so you can click them with the mouse, and they'll possess another person in the room. The other one, you could just scare somebody, so like hear a noise or something, so you click the person and then they'll run off and they'll leave the room. So the whole point is to clear the rooms of all the people, and if you do that, then you win. It's top down as far as the perspective goes, but it's one of those things where like if you don't do well enough, you don't pass to the next level. So if you don't get enough people, so
yeah, no, I get it. That sounds pretty fun, actually.
Yeah. No, it's pretty addictive. Like last night, you and I got together to kind of prep for this episode and just to work on other projects and stuff. Yeah. And while you were sorting stuff out, I was like, I want to check out this game. So I sat down and started playing it, and quickly realized, oh, wait a minute. Like maybe 10 minutes went by, and I was like, oh shoot, I gotta get back to work. I got stuff to do. I can't play this anymore. But it was really fun, and I'd like to go back. It's one of those like fun games that unfortunately may in the future be lost to time because again it's flash based.
Yes, so. Digital only, and that's something that surprised me is this track came out of a Flash game.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
this is really good.
It's
I like it.
Really good track. I mean, super dancey vibe and sounds really modern. It reminds me a lot of something that may have been in like the original Super Meat Boy soundtrack, like especially with those like sort of like super 8-bit tones.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, where it's like it's obviously 8-bit inspired, but it's like souped up.
Yeah, well, because like you get a lot of those chiptune tones that are your main melody, but then you've got all these like strings and drums and stuff that are more realistic, that are backing everything, and it's a really cool counterpoint.
Yeah, it doesn't really get too spooky until towards the end, where it's it kind of slows down a bit, and you get like that the more like organ-y type sound to it. So the gameplay itself is spooky related, so I figured I'd include it.
Yeah, no.
We should give away a prize.
A prize?
Yeah, if people can guess like the amount of spookies that we use. Not spookies, spookies.
And all they have to do is listen to the episode and count them up.
That's true. Who would want to do that?
I don't know. But the first one who does gets a free sticker.
Woo!
I don't know. What do we want to do?
I don't know. And give away a sticker. I don't know. Maybe somebody like walking around backyard here where we're hosting this event may get it. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out.
We'll see.
Yeah. So if you count all the spookies, you get a sticker. Free sticker. Big Giant Circles.
What have they done?
They are better known as Jimmy Henson. And
I think they're better known as Big Giant Circles, actually.
Well, yeah. So the artist is actually Jimmy Henson.
Right.
So he's an American music composer for the video game industry, and he has done a lot of stuff with Overclocked Remix. But now he's moved on to actually working on game soundtracks. So doing stuff like Borderlands 2, There came an Echo. He did the Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD remix, which I believe was back in the day when he was still with OC Remix, possibly.
Yeah.
He's worked on Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and Mass Effect 2 as well.
He also had a Kickstarter back in 2014, which raised $62,778 out of an intended goal of $5,000.
Goodness.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and Mass Effect 2 was actually nominated for a BAFTA award.
Oh, yeah.
For Best Original Music, which is really cool. So, yeah, he's done a lot of like independent work. And, you know, I feel like the American sound that you're hearing is very similar to a bunch of other artists that he's also done remixes with. There's a remix album called The Glory Days Remixed, and it includes music from artists like Disaster Piece, Austin Wintory, C418, who was the composer for Minecraft, as well as Danny Baranowski, which, again, I mentioned Super Meat Boy. Danny Baranowski did the soundtrack to that, or at least to the original.
Did he do the soundtrack to The Binding of Isaac, too?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least the original. So,
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Danny B, good composer, so good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to your pick. What do you got for us?
So, I have a game called Blazblue Continuum Shift. This came out in the arcades in 2009 and the PS3 and Xbox in 2010. The track is called Howling Moon, and it was composed by Daisuke Ishiwatari. Spooky. Spooky. Welcome back from that shredding insanity. That was Blazblue Continuum Shift, which came out in the arcades in 2009 and the PS3 and Xbox 360 in 2010. The track was called Howling Moon by Daisuke Ishiwatari.
Man, you brought the Castlevania.
A little bit. I mean, I brought the Guilty Gear, technically.
Well, yeah, but, you know, very similar to a lot of Castlevania music. You've got the...
Kind of like Judgment's soundtrack almost.
Yeah.
You got the electric guitars and all that crazy stuff, and then you still got like those organs in the background. But, I mean, this was definitely a lot more rock-inspired than anything else. For sure, for sure. Yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, you know, the Baroque influences are very clear. Yep.
And I was digging the organs kind of sprinkled in there, and it was good. I was digging it. I was rocking out.
Yeah, me too.
I was rocking out with my
socks out,
with my pumpkin out.
That can still be taken in for.
Yeah, you're right. Whoops. I was trying to think of something Halloween related.
Yeah, no.
Oh well. Spooky. Anyways, so I have no experience with these games, so you'll...
Blazblue?
Yeah, I've played Guilty Gear, but...
Right. And it's basically Guilty Gear 2.0.
Yeah.
There is a plot, much like Guilty Gear. I don't know how many people pay attention to the plot and know about the plot.
I have no idea.
I mean, I don't think we knew about the plot of Guilty Gear until we did the Guilty Gear episode.
I've been playing Guilty Gear since Guilty Gear 2, and I have no clue what's going on in those games. Like, they're just really pretty to look at.
You gotta read the comics.
Yeah. Seriously? There's comics?
Oh, yeah.
Mangas or comics? Oh.
I think there's a manga.
But,
so this is, I think, the third or fourth game in the series.
Jeez, have there really been that many for Blazblue? Wow.
Yeah, there's been a few.
But it's an original series. It's not, like, based on an anime.
No. They came up with it. Just like Guilty Gear came out of nowhere. This came out of nowhere. This game is actually set after the events of BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. And a few days have passed since the end of that game. The 13th city forgets to celebrate New Year's.
Of course.
And just things go crazy.
Okay, then.
You know, people start fighting, mass panic, cats and dogs living together. All
Recipes were shared.
Recipes were shared. Either way, it's a fighting game, and not to downplay fighting games, because there's always more to them than you punch each other until someone can't punch anymore.
Sure.
But, I mean, that's what they boil down to if you want to be a jerk about it. And I guess I do.
There's also the
inner workings? Like
the inner mental state of each character. What are they thinking? What did they eat for breakfast?
Only way to find out is to play through each character's customly crafted story mode.
Yes. Is there a lot of story in these games, or like is it intimidating, or?
No, it's not much different than Guilty Gear.
Gear.
Like,
so
you play through a Slayer and you get his stories. Yeah, the same kind of thing.
So it's super disjointed, and you'll get a story, but it'll be in pieces, and when you put it together, it doesn't make any sense. So.
I think it makes more sense when you finish everything. You just have to get all the secret characters.
Okay, so whose character is this for? Or is this like a specific stage, or...?
So, this track is actually the theme for Valkenhayn R. Helsing.
Okay.
They started out, they were an NPC in Calamity Trigger, and in this game, they are one of the 6 heroes who served the Alucard family for generations.
Interesting.
Yeah, he looks really old, and he is very protective of another character named Rachel.
He looks like if Castlevania had a butler, like if Dracula had a butler, that's what he looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I picture.
Huh. Yeah, okay, I can see that. He looks like a badass butler.
Several other people who are walking by the booth right now are agreeing with me.
Yeah.
They're nodding in succession.
I think if you combined Alucard from Symphony of the Night with, I don't know.
Slayer?
Oh, yes. Actually, a little bit
from Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I could see that. All right, so Daisuke Ishiwatari.
Obviously, everything Guilty Gear.
We did an entire episode on Guilty Gear way back on what, episode 4? Was it?
I think so.
4 or I think it was 4 or 5. One of those. No, It wasn't 5 because that was Coda. So it was 4.
It had to have been 4 or 6.
No, 6 was PlayStation.
Okay. Then it had to be 4. It had to be 4 because I remember when 2 and 3 were.
Yep. Yeah. So that was.
But yeah. So 4. I mean, all the Guilty Gear games, all the BlazBlue games.
And he's the producer too on these games, like basically the creator.
Exactly.
For the most part.
The only other credits that I see here are Battle Fantasia in 2008. They're listed as Freed, and Hardcore Uprising in
I'm sorry, what?
2011.
Did
He's
you
listed
mean-
as a composer.
Do you mean Hard Corpse
No, because
Uprising?
the game is hardcore.
Right, Hard
That's-
Corpse Uprising. I got it. All right, let's move on. So my next pick is from Ms. Pac-Man's Maze Madness. This came out on the Dreamcast, the N64, the PlayStation 1, the PC, and the Game Boy Advance, all in 2000, though I think the Game Boy Advance one was 2004. This is Haunted Halloween. It's by John Holland. This is the CD-based version, so not the N64 one. Welcome back to XVGM Radio's Halloween episode. That was Ms. Pac-Man's Maze Madness. That came out on the Dreamcast, the N64, and the PlayStation 1, as well as the PC, and later on the Game Boy Advance. The console and PC version came out in 2000, and that was Haunted Halloween by John Holland. And just like last year, we did want to take a minute to let you guys know that we have sponsors that are helping us out to allow us the opportunity to put this on outdoors.
Yep. So, for our first one, have you ever wanted to chase Pac-Man or Ms. Pac-Man, but you're not a ghost? You need to check out Ghost Juice, which temporarily turns you into a ghost so you can chase all you want. Note, Ghost Juice leaves you susceptible to flashing blue and white and potentially being eaten. Please call for a consult at 1-800-GHOST-ME today.
And that was 1-800-GHOST-ME.
Yeah, G-H-O-S-T-M-E.
Yeah, but you should call today.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So this game is a pretty neat little puzzle action game. You're going around as Miss Pac-Man, and in this level in particular, you are entering into a spooky mansion, castle thing, and you're surrounded by pumpkins and bats and all kinds of crazy, silly, creepy stuff. So you're going through each level, which is more like a maze than any other Pac-Man game. It feels more maze-like. I mean, you're also getting a lot more of an isometric kind of point of view. It's not.
So it's not straight top-down?
It's not quite isometric. It's not quite top-down. It's like slightly angled, but still top-down. It's weird.
It sounds kind of like, have you ever played... What was it, Pac-Man World? It was an NES game, I think. It was sort of the same thing. It was three-quarter view, but it was still like the same. It was the same sort of levels.
Kinda. I would say this is more top-down than isometric,
Really?
though.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain without actually looking at the gameplay footage. But the sprites are more 3D than anything. They're more like CG-ish. You know, like 3D. But you're going around as Miss Pac-Man trying to, get all the various different keys, and you can collect hearts and stuff for health and whatnot. So it's a really fun game, and it's definitely worth checking out. I would pick up the Dreamcast version if I were anybody who's interested in getting it, just because graphics are a little better. It's got all the cutscenes from the PlayStation version, and it's got the improved music as well off of the N64 version. So
Nice.
I mean, I guess you can get the PC version too, but I don't know. Anyways, John Holland did this one, and he hasn't done much, but he started off with Vector Man and Vector Man 2, both in 95 and 96 respectively, and then did a game called Assassin 2015 in 1996. Followed it up with Goosebumps Attack of the Mutant in 1997, as well as Interplay Sports Baseball 2000 in 1999, and then after Miss Pac-Man in 2000, he did Land Before Time Great Valley Racing Adventure in 2001, and Seablade in 2002, which I believe was an Xbox game. Yes, it was exclusive to Xbox. So
Neat.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. It's kind of like a 3D version of that game Choplifter, which is a lot of fun on the Master System.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's like where you go and get, you gotta save people with your chopper and then like bring them to a base or whatever. It's pretty neat. Yeah. So yeah, definitely pick up Miss Pac-Man. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's still fairly cheap. You can get it for under 20. So.
Huh.
Hey, it looks like somebody is walking over here, and their face looks familiar.
Oh, hey. I think that's Carlito.
I think so. Carlito's one of our patrons. So, hey, Carlito, what's shaking? What's going on?
You guys gotta help me. I was checking out this dude's sweet Trans Am when a group of thugs started chasing me. There's a big guy, meathead. He just keeps moaning, "A Bobo."
Well, that sounds terrible.
Can I hide behind you guys for a bit?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
While I'm here, can you play Ghost Forest from Double Dragon Neon by Vert?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Here they come.
Well, there he goes. Well, good luck, Carlito.
Godspeed.
Yeah, we'll play your track as you requested. So this is from Double Dragon Neon, and this is Vert, aka Jake Kaufman's tunage. The game came out on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 in 2012, and the track is Ghost Force.
Welcome back to XVGM Radio's SPOOKYFEST 2019. That was Carlito's pick from Double Dragon Neon, which came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 in 2012. The track was Ghost Forest and composed by Vert or Jake Kaufman.
You got it.
Man, that was way fun. I really dig the almost tubular bells thing they were doing with the piano in there.
I was feeling some exorcism going on.
Yes.
For sure.
Got a lot of exercise in that one.
Yeah. No. No. Incorrect. False.
But no, really good pick. Thank you, Carlito.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong with Jake Kaufman and pretty much the entire Double Dragon Neon soundtrack.
Fair.
It's pretty dope. You know, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember this song at all.
Did you skip the Ghost Forest level?
I don't remember.
Was it an optional one?
It's been so long since I've played through Double Dragon Neon.
Is it the other track that you have to choose when you're at Corneria and then you go to the Sector Y?
Wait, a Star Fox joke, really?
Sorry, I was playing Star Fox recently on the Switch.
Okay.
Anyway.
Acceptable. Just, I don't remember this song. I don't know why. I mean, I also tend to gravitate towards the more dancey stuff that he does.
That's fair, too.
So most of the times when I put on the Double Dragon Neon soundtrack, I'm not putting on something like this. I'm putting on like Mango Tango, or there's that song that I think it's like the stage select song with the claps.
Oh, yeah,
with the chunky bass, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That one, yeah. That, or I'm getting like the mixtape songs stuck in my head.
Mixtapes?
Yeah, so have you played Double Dragon Neon? No. Okay. All right. So allow me to explain. So Double Dragon Neon is basically, I guess you could say, a Saturday morning cartoon-inspired remake of the first Double Dragon, in a way.
Oh, that's right.
It's got a super ridiculous bad guy who is pretty much Skeletor, like right down to the voice. Yeah, that voice. Yeah, pretty much. It's really fun.
Nice.
He's super over the top, and Billy and Jimmy Lee, not Bimmy.
Bimmy and Jimmy?
It's Billy and Jimmy Lee go after Marion, but it's a little different this time because a lot of crazy stuff happens during the game. The plot's definitely more advanced. You go up to space. Like, it is one of the best arcade beat 'em ups since like back in the day, like in the 90s. Like, it was like this in Scott Pilgrim that was like a real like renaissance of new beat 'em ups. Yeah. So, but this game, there's different power-ups that you can get that you can change in the start menu, and they're all like little mixtapes. So the loops are super short, but it's all like 80s inspired music for the most part. Like, some songs will sound like something from Depeche Mode. And it'll be like Desperate Creatures, something or whatever. I can't remember the lyrics.
That's really cool.
There's another one that's like, she's a maniac, my lover boy maniac. Like, it's super, super 80s. And so most of the times when I'm listening to the soundtrack to this, I'm listening to that type of stuff.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Probably my favorite one of the mixtapes is the Love Explosion one. It's a super 80s, just awesome.
I'll go check it out.
Yeah, I can give you the soundtrack too because I have it, but it's well worth it. I wish they'd like release it on vinyl or something like that.
I was actually just going to ask. Cause
yeah, no such luck.
We'll have to figure out how to make it ourselves.
Yes, well, no, because there's tons of rights with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to sell. I just mean for our own collections. Jeez.
So Arc System Works actually, I think, owns the rights now, but the game was originally released, I think, in conjunction with Majesco.
Oh.
Yeah, and like Majesco saw how profitable the game was because Way Forward developed it.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's make another one. They made like Double Dragon 2, like a revamp of the arcade game, but it's just not good.
Oof.
So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. And then I think they lost the rights back to Arc System Works. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Right or wrongs.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, anyways, good track. Very Exorcist-ish.
Yeah, no, I dig it.
And I'll have to go back in the game and try it out and see. Jake Kaufman, no stranger to the podcast. We've played him a couple times, but he's best known for the Shantae series. Pretty much all the games up until this newest one, which I don't think he's going to be on. And he did Double Dragon Neon, of course. He's done a ton of work for Way Forward. He's also producing an upcoming game called Cyber Shadow, which is going to be released under Yacht Club Games, and it's like a Natsume tribute type game. It looks really cool. I've been following the development for a couple years now, off and on, and it's pretty sick. So
Nice.
yeah,
That's
look
pretty
forward
cool.
to that. Yeah, I think he's just producing it, so we'll see if I'm sure the tunes will be excellent by whoever's composing. All right, what do you got next for us?
So next up, we're going to move over to the SNES stage and listen to a track from Mega Man 7. This came out in the SNES in 1995. The track is called Shade Man. This is the Horror Fortress theme, and was composed by Tatsuya Nishimura, Yūko Takehara, Toshihiko Horiyama, Makoto Tomozawa, Hiroshi Shimada, Noriko Ando, Atsushi Mori, Nariyuki Nobuyama, and Ippo Yamada. Welcome back. That was Shade Man, the Horror Fortress from Mega Man 7 on the SNES in 1995. Composers on this, there's so many. I'm never taking a track with this many composers again, I swear. I do this so often. Tatsuya Nishimura, Yūko Takehara, Toshihiko Horiyama, Makoto Tomozawa, Hiroshi Shimada, Noriko Ando, Atsushi Mori, Nariyuki Nobuyama, and Ippo Yamada.
Word. So many people to work on this soundtrack.
And they're all amazing people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, all Capcom people. But anyways, this song is one of the better songs on the Mega Man 7 soundtrack.
You're not a fan of the soundtrack?
I am not. I enjoy...
It's like Mega Man 5 to you?
You know, I like Mega Man 5 soundtrack better.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? That's the one that you don't really like?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mega Man 5 soundtrack, but I really... I don't know what it is about this game. Well, I can tell you what it is about the game, but the soundtrack specifically, I feel like the tones are a little weak, especially coming off of like Mega Man X, where you have those really like gritty, tough Mega Man X squealy power metal. Yeah. But this, it's not quite that, and I feel like the synths are a little weaker. And if you have heard the soundtrack, some fans have redone it to sound like the 8-bit NES games, and it is marginally better, like way better. Yeah, I like this tune. Of course, the spookiness of it is pretty well worth noting. I mean, it's got those more haunting kind of up and down, not arpeggios, but like the up and down kind of bouncing back and forth. Yeah. So that's kind of a staple of not only Mega Man music, but also like more Halloweenish type of music. But yeah, and what's cool is this game has an alternate. I think I just told you about that for the first time. You didn't know about the alternate track. Where I think you have to like hold down a specific button on this level.
Yeah, and it's basically ghouls and ghosts.
Yeah, or ghosts and goblins. Yeah. So pretty neat. Game-wise, I'm not a big fan of this game. I really don't like the jumping mechanics, and I don't like how big the Mega Man sprite is.
I would agree. I've actually never gotten that far in this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've played it, and I get through the opening, and then I think I get partway through another level, and I'm just kind of done with it.
Yeah, I've beaten it a few times, and it's one of those games where I beat it, and then I'm like, I just don't want to go back and beat it ever again.
Yeah.
But somehow I end up being like, oh, I really like that first opening stage, and then like it just all goes downhill from there. But my big thing is Mega Man sprite just looks too stretched out. and it just looks too chunky, and the jumping mechanics feel different.
Yeah, no,
You know,
that's fair.
I think every other version of Mega Man after that for the classic Mega Man games got it right. Like 8 got his size right.
Yep.
You know,
That was on the PS1, right? Yep.
yeah, it was on the PS1 and Saturn actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
And then 9 and 10 were just the classic.
The classic 8-bit style, and then 11 was more like 8, but like modernized for 2.5D/3D. So
Yeah.
or 2D.
Did you grab that one?
I did, yeah. It's good. It's difficult though, like really difficult. There's a new gameplay mechanic where you have to
That's right. Yep.
slow down time, and so it's cool. It's different. The music on that is hit or miss. Like there's sometimes when I listen to it and I'm like, this is really good stuff. But I think the biggest problem with it is the instrumentation just isn't there. All the synths sound kind of super weak.
Yeah.
There's a downloadable thing that you can get. I think it might be even free now, where you can just like download it. It was a pre-order bonus at one point, but it turns all the music into like piano based.
Ooh.
So it's like a synth piano, but still it's more in line with like an 8-bit style, which I don't know why they didn't just like release an 8-bit version, because the songs themselves, composition wise, are really good. It's just, I feel like they'd be a lot stronger sounding if they had that more like abrasive 8-bit sound.
That's fair.
But anyways, we're here to talk about 7. So Shademan was always really difficult because he could like suck up your energy, like if he grabbed you.
So
you could like,
he was a vampire.
yeah, he's like a vampire bat, robot, man. Yes. And he grabs your shoulders and kind of like
Shakes you vigorously until you wake
like
up.
massages the life force out of you. I don't know.
Well, at least it's a good way to go.
I guess. Would you be cool with that?
I mean,
If like you had to perish, but you could do it through massage?
maybe.
Okay.
Sounds peaceful.
I guess.
I mean, I'm a millennial. We crave death.
What?
Never mind.
Oh,
Cut
God.
that.
Nope.
Uh-huh.
So these composers, let's just do one game from each.
Yeah.
Makoto Tomozawa did Street Fighter V. He was the sound line manager. Composition-wise, though, his last game that he was credited for was Piano 3 back in 2003.
Piano 3?
Piano.
I know, I played the game.
Yes.
Just being a jerk.
This guy. Toshihiko Horiyama. His most recent game that he's credited for is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice in 2016. Yūko Takehara was one of the music composers on Mega Man 10. And Tatsuya Nishimura hasn't done much, honestly. Started off with doing like Jalico-based stuff with like Bases Loaded 3 and 4. Then moved over to Capcom and did background music on The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse in 1992. Their last game was as a sound engineer at Bases Loaded 96 Doubleheader.
That's right. And Hiroshi Shimada, the only audio credit we have here is sound composer from Mega Man 7 in 95.
Ah.
Yep. Noriko Ando, we will go with Mega Man Battle and Chase in 97. There was a sound designer.
Ah, that actually never came out here. That's that racing game, the Mega Man racing game.
Wasn't that on one of the collections?
It was on the Mega Man X, GameCube, and PS2 collection.
That's right. Okay, yep.
Yeah, it was an unlockable game that you could unlock, which was really cool.
Yeah.
The fun fact, the opening song, I believe, is by the producer of the Street Fighter series now. I think his name is Yoshinari Ono.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Atsushi Mori was a lead sound designer on Okami in 2006. And then Nariyuki Nobuyama was part of the sound design team on Onimusha Warlords in 2001. And then Ippo Yamada
Has tons of stuff.
I was just going to say, has plenty of things to choose from. Let's go with something not Mega Man related. We will say they were the sound producer on Naruto Powerful Shippuden in 2013.
Is also an employee of Intercreates, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And
they're the ones that did ZX.
Yeah, Blaster Master, Zero. I don't know if he did that one, but he definitely did the newer Bloodstained games. I think it was Bloodstained's Curse of the Moon, where he helped do sound design. And yeah, I think he produced or composed some of the songs on that as well, because I don't think it was just Mishiro Yamane.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right, so that's Mega Man 7. Let's move into a licensed game. This is Taz Wanted. and it came out on the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the PC in 2002. This track is called Taz Haunted, and this is the spin version of that track. It's by Nimrod Productions.
Listening to XVGM Radio, where the bits just keep coming.
Welcome back to our SPOOKYFEST.
Ooh.
Sorry,
I jumped in late there.
That's okay. That was Taz Wanted on the GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC in 2002. And that was Taz Haunted was the name of the track. It's the spin version. I don't quite know what that means. If like maybe you get a power-up that requires you to spin it. I literally just bought this game this weekend. So I have not had a chance to sit down and play it, but it is a game with Taz, or the Tasmanian Devil from Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
And speaking of Looney Tunes, are you tired of spinning in circles, shouting nonsense?
I am.
Are you possessed by the devil?
No.
Or are you just from Tasmania? Either way, try to stretch out on this Acme created torture. I mean, treatment called Spine Be Gone. Stretch out your spine on a rack of wood while being held down by restraints. It'll stop the spinnies and help lose weight, all in one.
Wow.
Yeah, you can pick it up at any Small Greens. Sometimes you'll either find it at
Wrong Aid.
Wrong Aid, yep, or Shop and Scare, and Fright Right. Don't forget about Fright Right. They sell really good those like little pumpkin candies this time of year. Good stuff.
The ones that are basically just candy corn.
Yeah, I like those better than candy corn. Don't you? They're more filling though.
Okay. I don't find them to be any different than candy corn except for the, you know, the look of them. But
your taste buds must be broken from all that time that you spent on the Acme Spine Be Gone.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you to our sponsors for that one. So, Taz Wanted has come out on a lot of different systems. Apparently, the plot of this one is Taz and the She-Devil are hanging out romantically, specifically romantically, on Taz Island. But they are captured by Yosemite Sam, and they're put on display as zoo animals in the Yosemite Zoo. Taz escapes or attempts to break out, and Yosemite Sam moves the She-Devil elsewhere. So Taz does break out and basically has to save his lady love. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the game. Again, I don't know too much about it because I have not started playing it yet, but it's it looks pretty cool, pretty neat. And of course, the Taz is voiced by Jim Cummings.
Of course.
Yeah, who has done quite a lot of spooky roles. He also did the mask in the Splatterhouse reimagining.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of silly to be hearing Jim Cummings' voice, the Winnie the Pooh voice,
Yeah.
basically coming out of, you know, the mask from Splatterhouse.
That's crazy.
Yeah, pretty silly. So yeah, this one obviously taking inspiration from Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera, just a little bit.
I mean, I could see where you would say that, yeah.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
That's literally
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera.
Well, not literally, but
Well, pretty much.
It is very close. I can see where you would say that. I didn't think of that until you said it, but now that you've said it...
Really?
Yeah.
I heard it like right away. That's weird. Okay.
I know there was too much other stuff. There was too much like Looney Tune in that for me to pick up.
Really? Even with the guitar?
Even with the guitar.
Interesting.
It would have had to have been a lot more of a ripoff. It would have had to actually been like da 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 da.
Okay.
Go like, oh, Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like I didn't notice it because I was hearing all these other things, and there was a lot of stuff that was very reminiscent of like Looney Tunes. There was some like xylophone and marimba in there. There's
a lot of stuff that comes afterwards too on this track that definitely takes it in a different direction.
Yep.
It's a lot more of like I don't even know what you'd call it, like a hard rock punk track kind of. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. A little bit. So
a little bit of pop punk.
Yeah. I don't know. So the composer on this one is credited for Nimrod Productions. It's a production company. They've been around since the early 2000s. Their final game was Killzone 3, but they've done stuff like Driver in 2004, Driver 3, Toka Race Driver 2 in 2004, games like Stuntman, Largo Winch Commander SAR, Seven Sins, Test Drive Unlimited, and Super Rub-a-Dub.
Pulling that one out of somewhere.
Yeah, out of your dub.
Ah, yeah.
So, I don't know. That's all I got for that one. Short but sweet, but yeah. So what do you got?
All right, so next up, we're going to listen to a track from a game called Puppeteer. This came out in the PS3 exclusively in 2013. The track is called Halloweenville, and it is composed by Patrick Doyle. Welcome back. Come out from under the covers. That spooky track was Halloweenville. And it was from Puppeteer, which came out on the PS3 exclusively in 2013 and was composed by Patrick Doyle.
I want to stress that's Halloween.
Yeah, there's no N on the end.
No
of that.
N.
It's like Halloween.
Yes, exactly that.
Yep.
I love this track.
It's really cool.
It's really good. But I'm a sucker for these types of like really kind of spooky kind of dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
these like classical pieces.
Yeah, this is one of the more bombastic tracks that we have in store for us tonight. Less on the rocky or chiptune side, and more just straight up like orchestrated, which is pretty cool. So this game, for those who haven't heard of Puppeteer, I hadn't until I had found this track, and now I actually want to get it. It follows, so it was created and developed by Sony. Obviously, it's a PlayStation exclusive, and it kind of follows along similar lines as other games. I don't even know how to describe this. So you've got Little Big Planet, you've got another game called Tearaway that I have on the PS4, where, you know, your character is this little paper thing, and you live in this paper world, and you run around, and you gotta like cut things out or gather up little papers. And same with like Little Big Planet, you're this little fabric guy who goes around and finds these little things. Well, similar to those, Puppeteer, you are a puppet, if that wasn't obvious.
Okay.
The plot, real quick, is really convoluted, so I'm going to give you like the very beginnings of it. But the story occurs in a weird little world representing sort of like Earth's moon, and it's inhabited by these weird like folklore type characters. The first half of the game is played on the dark side of the moon, and the second half of the game is actually played on Earth. But the premise is that the world's ruler, the moon goddess, was overthrown by her subordinate, Little Bear, when Little Bear seized her black moonstone and these special scissors called Calibris. And then he declared himself Moon Bear King.
Okay, then.
Yep. And then throughout the game, you know, he has 12 generals styled after the Chinese zodiac. They set everything in disorder, and your character is a little boy that's turned into a puppet and then almost immediately decapitated. So you get heads and wear them to do different things, and you can hold up to 3 different heads at a time. If you lose all your heads, then you have to restart from a checkpoint.
That's pretty unique.
It's a really interesting, cute little game. So I think I'm actually going to pick this one up because I really like Tearaway, and I never finished any of the Little Big Planet games, but I played all of them to an extent, and they were all really fun. And this seems like it's more towards the Tearaway side of things, a little bit more story-based and less just like do whatever you want and get lost.
This is pretty neat, and I'm wondering if all the music is like this, because if it is, then for sure it's going to be a stellar soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack itself, I believe, is all like orchestral like this.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's really neat. I like this. And then this particular track was sufficiently creepy. I like it. It was a very, I mean, it was called Halloweenville. Obviously, this is a Halloween themed area, but it was like I thought that really shone through.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that. So, never heard of this composer before.
Patrick Doyle?
No.
Yeah, he only has a couple of things. Puppeteer actually was is the last thing in his credits. The only other things are the Lego Harry Potter games, years 1 through 4 in 2010, and years 5 through 7 in 2011.
Ah, okay then. Well, that makes sense, because I don't think I've ever heard those soundtracks before. So,
Really?
No.
With your wife? You guys never played the Harry Potter?
Yeah, she's
Lego
not
games?
a big Harry Potter video game fan. She's
surprising.
she more likes the books and the movies. Yeah.
I figured you'd be fully immersed in all of the stuff.
Yeah. But this track itself is, even though it may not be, the game itself may not be very Halloween-y, the song is very Halloween-inspired.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So, good pick. All right, so let's move on to my next pick, which is from a very obscure game, but it's also a very new game, or a newer game for an old system. This is Nanako in classic Japanese Monster Castle. It came out on the Amstrad CPC, the Sinclair ZX81, the ZX Spectrum, and the Commodore 64 in 2009. We're going to be hearing the Commodore 64 version of this track. It's called In Game, and it's by Sasha Linus Zadler with sound effects backup by Mikhail Backlund. back to SPOOKYFEST. That was Nanako in classic Japanese Monster Castle. This is the Amstrad CPC released game, as well as Sinclair, ZX81, the ZX Spectrum, and Commodore 64. And again, that was the Commodore 64 version of the track specifically. That came out in 2009, and the game song is in-game. It's by Sasha Linus Ziedler and Mikhail Backlund.
Very cool. I know the C64 is pretty good at this in general, but I like the slides.
Arpeggios.
Well, the arpeggios too, but I'm talking specifically like the the note slides.
Yeah, the note slides are very Halloweenish.
Yes.
That's kind of where this... Well, I mean, the game itself is very Halloweenish, but this track in particular has kind of like a ghostly, like, woo kind of motion going with it. So
neat.
It's cool.
Yeah, I got... It felt like it shifted tone a little bit. I don't know if tone's the right word, but there was a good portion of the song where I kind of felt like it was in space.
Okay.
It kind of felt like spacey themed.
Trippy, spacey. Yeah, I get that vibe, but I kind of like chalk that up to the very Tim Fallon-esque progressive hard rock kind of sound to it. It's a very prog rock type track.
Oh, yeah, that's
but
fair.
You know, I picture like those Moog synthesizers kind of in this, or maybe like something from the band Goblin, very similar to that type of stuff. So anyways, Nanako is a series of games created by the Mojon twins. These are games that basically only came out on like retro systems. So the Mojon twins have a website, just mojontwins.com, where you can pick up their games. There were physical copies of these that were created, I think, for some of the platforms. I'm not sure which ones. A lot of their games tend to have more like adult themes. Yeah. This one in particular does as well, as do all of the Nanako games. Pretty much Nanako spends her entire time in a bikini, or like a bra and panties, or whatever you want to call it. So not for the kiddies. But also, I don't believe there's any actual nudity in any of the games. They're just, you know, is what it is. The games are different depending on which one you get. So if you go with this one, which was in classic Japanese Monster Castle, it takes on more of like a side-scrolling Adventures of Lolo kind of style. So on the Commodore 64, so it's you're scrolling from left to right, but like each level is like a single map, very similar like Adventures of Lolo.
Right.
And you're trying to like figure out how to get to the end. There's enemies that pop up and everything. But yeah, you play as Nanako, and you are going through this castle trying to beat all the enemies, all the monsters. So it came out in like 2009, 2010, depending on which version of the game. This version in particular came out in 2010. It got pretty high praise for the most part as a Commodore 64 game. Great graphics, really good playability and everything on the Commodore 64. So it's worth checking out. I would definitely recommend it. The graphics are pretty impressive for the most part. If you take a look at them, really good use of color, and it looks head over heels way better than the ZX Spectrum version, which is obviously more color limited, more like blacks and really bright blues, really bright reds and yellows. So yeah. There's a follow-up game that came out afterwards, and that one is a little different than this one. It is more top-down, like Zelda, sort of. Okay. But it's like, again, it's like that Miss Pac-Man kind of style for the Maze Madness game. It's not specifically top-down, but it's like slightly angled.
Isometric, but not.
Yeah. It's really hard to explain unless you see it, but yeah, it's like slightly tilted.
Gotcha.
And that one's interesting because most of the screen is just taken up by a pin-up image of Nanako, and then the rest of the square area is just relegated to gameplay. Yeah. And the series is pretty neat. I mean, you know, if you can get past the digital giblets and just, you know, enjoy the game for what it is, it's a neat little action kind of puzzler. So it's kind of cool.
That sounds interesting.
And, you know, all the enemies and stuff are all like, you know, demons and monsters and skeletons and all that sort of stuff. So it's perfect for the Halloween season. So the composers, I don't have too much information on them. First off, Michael Backlund, I'm not sure which one it is. He's also known as Two Flower. He has worked mostly on Mojang Twins games like Mojang Twins 2 Games in 1 in 2013, and of course this game, and he's not credited for the follow-up Nanako game, but there's a possibility that he did work on it. His last credit was in 2011 for Prince of Persia, and that was the Commodore 64 port. So I guess it got ported in 2011, probably unofficially.
Yeah. Interesting.
Sasha Zadler, also known as Linus. I tried to reach out to him to try to see if I can get a little bit cleaner version of the MP3. I mean, already it's pretty clean, but I wanted to see if he had a slightly higher quality audio. And never received a word back, unfortunately. I think also there may have been a language barrier because I think they are from, like...
Germany,
yeah. So he's also credited under sound effects, but again, they both are. So I believe that he's the musician, though, because he's credited for Jar's Revenge in 2012 for SID music, which is, of course, the Commodore 64 sound chip. Sir Ababel, which came out in 2012, he's credited under Tape Load Tune and End Screen MSX. And his final game, according to our sources, Mojang Twins 2 Games in 1 in 2013. We did the music and the sound effects with Michael Backlund. Yeah.
Nice.
So let's move into something a little more Disney. What do you got for us?
A little more, well, sort of Disney.
A little bit Disney, a little bit Square.
A little more mainstream. So this is from Kingdom Hearts 2, which came out in the PS2 in 2005. Can you guess what it is? It's the Halloween Town theme. It's called Spooks of Halloween Town.
Spooks
of Halloween Town. And it was composed originally by Danny Elfman in the original composition, but this was arranged by Yūko Shimomura.
Cool.
Welcome back. That was Spooks of Halloween Town from Kingdom Hearts 2. Came out on the PS2 in 2005. It was composed originally by Danny Elfman and arranged by Yūko Shimomura.
Spooky!
Whew. You held that for a while.
I did.
Congratulations.
Goodness.
Got a good set of pipes on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this track, definitely not, it's not This Is Halloween straight up, but it is very clearly like
inspired by it.
Inspired by, and like you can hear parts of This Is Halloween, some other things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's why we give Danny Elfman the original composition credit and Yūko Shimomura the arrangement credit.
Just reeks of Elfman. That should be on like a bar of soap.
Reeks of Elfman.
Reeks of Elfman. You can buy it like during the holidays.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This game, do you have any? I don't know. You're not into the Kingdom Hearts games, right?
I played the first one, and I could not get past with like the first 10 minutes. I was like, nope, this is not a game for me.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the main character's a little on the young side.
Not even that. No? I mean, yeah, that was a huge contributing factor, but my biggest problem with it was the controls on the first one.
Oh, in the first game.
I mean, jumping around with the those silly shoes that he's wearing, like you just couldn't stand on anything.
Clown shoes.
You may even call them goofy shoes. So yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with Kingdom Hearts, but again, the music is for the most part pretty awesome. I don't think I've heard a single Kingdom Hearts song that I didn't
halfway
like.
Between Final Fantasy and Disney, both of which have amazing music. So
true.
It's really hard to go wrong.
I think that's kind of my issue with it. Is I like Disney separate. I like Square stuff separate. Don't mix.
These games, so if you're not familiar with the Kingdom Hearts games, what rock have you been living? I mean, it's an action RPG.
Sure.
It's based in a combination of the Final Fantasy worlds. You've got characters in Final Fantasy 7, 8, 10, and those are the only ones that I can actually identify. I don't
Really?
recognize anybody from 9 in these games.
6.
I mean, you've got Cloud and Sephiroth, and I
Okay.
think Aerith and Tifa. I think most of the gang from 7 is in at some point. I mean,
So you played this sequel?
yes, not all the way through.
Okay.
I've played through the opening bit and a little bit of Sora's story.
Okay.
And I've never gotten around to finishing it. My wife and I started replaying the first game in the 1.5 HD remix for the PS3 years ago, and we never really finished. The idea was that we were going to play through all of them. We just never did.
Gotcha.
So, they're fun little games. Like, you get to visit the worlds of famous Disney movies.
Right.
Every game they add more Disney worlds, and it's just it's got a very confusing plot. Like,
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid levels insanity.
Guilty Gear levels?
Oh, I don't really fully get Guilty Gear and the plot there, so I don't know. Like,
So then Guilty Gear is worse?
I think Guilty Gear might be worse.
Okay.
I can follow the plot of what's going on with Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
I don't understand what's going on with Guilty Gear. I just like fighting games.
Right.
I like the fighting games.
Right. I hear you.
Danny Elfman doesn't really have many or any video game compositions.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the stuff that he's done, like Batman.
I was going to say Batman,
Yeah.
Batman Returns.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done so many amazing things for like Touchstone films and whatnot. Danny Elfman also composed the intro to The Simpsons.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yep, learned something new.
Okay.
Yoko Shimomura, no stranger to this podcast.
Radiant Historia.
Yeah, every time.
Every time.
I'm gonna say Heroes of Mana in 2007 and Terra Battle in 2014, and that's just like go back and listen to almost every other episode, and there's something from Yoko in it.
Slight detour. I really want to play Radiant Historia, but it's on my 3DS, and I never play my 3DS now that I have a Switch, and it's so upsetting because there's so many
They port it
games.
to the Switch.
Yeah, well, it's like there's so many games that I want to get to on my 3DS that I was actively playing, and then the Switch came out, and I got all the games for the Switch, and then it's like, it's frustrating, man.
First world problems.
I know, right? Come on. So,
No, but I feel that. There's some games that I have not yet finished on my 3DS, and I haven't touched my 3DS. It's in my backpack.
Yeah.
I don't think I've charged it in months.
I keep it on the charger at all times. I just don't play it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll go back to it and play me some Radiant Historia.
Someday.
Perfect chronology. Anyways, so speaking of the Switch, let's move on to a game that was ported to the Switch fairly recently. This is Blobcat. This came out on the PC and the Switch in 2017 and 2018, respectively. This is Halloween, and it came out from Ben Zimmerman as the composer. Welcome back to SPOOKYFEST. That was Blobcat, which came out on the PC and the Switch in 2017 and 2018, respectively. That was a track called Halloween, and it was by Ben Zimmerman. So, this game is super adorable.
It looks so cute.
Right?
Too cute.
Too freaking cute. So, it is a spiritual successor to Choo Choo Rocket. I only found out about it because they recently released a Choo Choo Rocket game for the Apple Arcade. A new one. Like a new, brand new game. And unfortunately, it's stuck on Apple Arcade. So if you don't play... If you only play... if you don't play mobile games, then you're kind of SOL. If you don't have an Apple phone specifically, you are out of luck, or an iPad, or whatever.
So what is it, Choo Choo Rocket 2?
I guess. I mean, it's Choo Choo Rocket. I think they're calling it something like Interstellar or something like. I can't remember the name of it.
I mean, they re-released Choo Choo Rocket on, what, the DS? The 3DS?
Game Boy Advance.
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, and it was like a port.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I thought I was thinking of something else, I guess.
Yeah, no, the game never received a port elsewhere other than Game Boy Advance, and then recently they announced that it's coming to Apple Arcade as an exclusive downloadable title.
Exciting.
Not so much. I need it ported to the consoles or the Switch or the PC or something that I can actually play it on. But
but this looks, I mean, awesome. I mean,
yeah.
I don't need a Choo Choo Rocket port.
Nope.
If this is a thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look at this too now.
Yeah, it's a little more on. I think it's like maybe $10 or something like that online, which is not bad. And you get a sea of like downloadable stuff too. This is one of the downloadable levels that they kind of tossed in as a free update. So pretty cool stuff. The whole game is super adorable, and the music is fantastic. I really, really love this track. I just love the spookiness behind it, and that theremin is super addictive.
Yeah. I like. We've got like a xylophone and marimba again in this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go xylophone because it's higher pitched.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cute while also being spooky, and I like that.
There should be a word for that, like
or
spute,
Yeah.
or cukey.
Those are those.
That's just awful. Cukey especially sounds like a weird
Cucumber.
Yeah, a weird cucumber. That's it. Cukey. Okay then.
I mean,
well, this track is cukey.
Yeah. Agree.
So Ben Zimmerman, he's credited on the Green Piano on YouTube. So if you go
as the Green Piano,
credited as the Green Piano. So if you go to YouTube, he also has a Bandcamp as well. This track I was unable to find anywhere else other than Amazon, which we actually just purchased it because I was like, well, may as well download it because it's a good track. So Ben Zimmerman does like a bunch of different stuff, mostly like he's done like a bunch of remix albums and whatnot. So, looks like a fairly new composer for the most part. But this was the only game that I could find that he's actually credited on is Blobcat, if I recall. So perhaps he has more in the works in the future. But
or maybe he just does stuff outside of video games.
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
we're not seeing.
He's done a lot of remix albums, but stuff like Phoenix Wright and whatnot. So
nice.
But great start with this Blobcat game. Really good music. So
really cukey.
Yes, really cukey. I'm sure all these people walking by are like, "What is he talking about? Cukey?"
I mean, they're just walking by. They're not stopping.
It's like a soggy cucumber. Soggy for all the wrong reasons,
I guess.
So let's move on to our final track of the spooky song selection.
SPOOKYFEST 2019. Yes, so we are going to be closing out with Mario Party 2. This is the N64 release in 1999. The track is Horrorland, and it was composed by Hiroano Yamamoto, Shoei Bando, Kazuhiko Sawaguchi, and Yasunori Mitsuda. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's almost time to get off our lawns. So
Yes.
before we get there, let's go through this. Horrorland from Mario Party 2, which was on the N64 in 1999, composed by Hiroano Yamamoto, Shoei Bando, Kazuhiko Sawaguchi, and Yasunori Mitsuda. This one just feels really classic to me. It's got like that polka beat.
It does.
Pa.
I was going to say it sounds like a Russian Halloween song. Yeah, especially with the accordion in there. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, very, very kind of do. It's very like Eastern European. Yeah, I was digging this vibe. So, but it totally fits for a Horrorland map.
Tell me Horrorland, and this is now what I'm hearing.
Yes,
so.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it really fits, and you've got a lot of different neat little instruments in there. Just with the, I'm gonna say flute. I know there's a flute in your last track too.
Yeah. So, have you played Mario Party 2 or any of the Mario Parties?
Oh, I've played a bunch of the Mario Parties. I'm not sure if I've played 2. I know 2 is the one that's sort of revered as the best of the Mario Parties.
Oh, is it really?
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I played a ton of 1 of the original.
Oh, yeah.
And I played a ton of 4 in college. But
4 was on the GameCube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the first one on the GameCube. Now, I didn't really play that much of 2 and 3. I think maybe my brother and I rented them just to try them out. But he was a Mario Party nut. He loved those
They're
games.
fun games.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the newer ones. I've not heard great things about the one, I think, on the Wii U.
Yeah, I played the one.
Everybody's in the basket together.
Yeah, I played the one on Wii. I think that was 7.
Yeah, that one wasn't that bad.
And I played 6, and I did not like 6. 6 was the one with the microphone.
Yeah, no, the microphone was...
That was dumb. And 7, I was just kind of like, meh, whatever. So I thought it was okay. I didn't really play anything after that.
I mean, I enjoyed 7. It utilized a lot of the Wiimote gimmicks,
right?
The Wii's gimmicks really well.
Sure.
And I mean, I understand why they went in a different direction. I don't agree with it with the newer ones.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So the composers on this one, tell me all about them.
So Hiroano Yamamoto, they started out doing sound programming on Team Innocent, The Point of No Return in 1994. Then they did music design on Tengai Makyo Zero in 1995, music composition on Bomberman World in 98, music on Bomberman Online in 2001.
Okay. Probably for the Dreamcast, yeah.
Correct.
Nice.
Next up we have Shoei Bando, and they started all the way back in 1995 on Vertical Force doing sound creation, Bomberman Online 2001 as well for them. They also did music on Bomberman Generation in 2002, and the rest of these look to be sound director, sound staff. Their last credit was Nikolai's Pencil Puzzle in 2011. They were sound director on that.
Okay.
Kazuhiko Sawaguchi started with Hiroano Yamamoto doing sound programming on Team Innocent, The Point of No Return in 94. Front Mission in 2002. Their last credit is synth programming on Gravity Rush 2 in 2017. And then finally, Yasunori Mitsuda
has done everything.
Yeah, we got to go all the way back to the ages of 1992, starting with sound effects in Final Fantasy V, doing music in Chrono Trigger in 95, so many things. Legaia 2 Dual Saga in 2001, and Soma Bringer in 2008. Their last credit is a guest composer on Final Fantasy 15, episode Ignis in 2017.
Interesting.
Yes.
So a lot of those composers were Hudson Soft composers, since Hudson Soft made this game, or co-made it with Nintendo. And so most likely a lot of them worked with like Jun Chikuma on stuff like Bomberman.
Nice.
So I think we have one more sponsor.
We do. In fact, the sponsor is Blood Dice. You've heard of Blood Diamonds. Well, how about Blood Dice? From the makers of the Necronomicon, these dice are especially useful when playing games with your friends. Just give them a roll and defeat your foes with the power of evil. Bloodletting may occur. Use with a demon's supervision.
All right. Spooky.
Very spooky.
So of these spooky tracks,
You beat me to it.
spooky tracks, which one is your favorite?
If I can take two, then I'm going to take the Haunting Magnolia Manor and Double Dragon Neon. Straight up.
Okay, cool. I am going to go with the Nanako in Classic Japan track.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
classic
yeah,
Japanese mansion or whatever. It's just so Tim Fallon, and I love that like prog stuff. But second place is a tie, I would say, between your Puppeteer track.
Yeah.
And I would also say Blobcat.
Fair.
I really was digging that Blobcat track.
Agreed.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to say Blobcat is number 1.
Okay.
Followed by a tie between the Nanako track and your Puppeteer track. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything that we heard tonight that I didn't really enjoy.
So we'd love to hear what all of you thought about this episode. Let us know in either the comments on Facebook, or you could reach out to us on our Discord channel, or shoot us an email real quick and let us know. You can also tweet at us. We got tons of different social media, which you're about to hear in a few minutes, that you'll be able to grab and share which spooky track you liked best.
Definitely. So, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons, without whom this show's continued improvement would be impossible. They are Alex Messenger, Scott McElhone, Cam Worma, Chris Murray, Kung Fu Carlito of the Heroes 3 podcast, Jordan and Anson Davis, Chris Myers, Jeremy Rutz, Peter Panda, Bedroth, Brad Austin, and the Autistic Gamer 89. If you would like to become a patron, you can sign up at patreon.com/xvgmradio. There you can see the different tiers as well. Just $1 gets you a thank you and access to our monthly live shows.
You can visit our website, xvgmradio.com, where you can listen to all the episodes and learn more about your hosts, as well as any of our guests or composers that we've had on the show.
If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
And if you'd like what you've heard, please consider giving us a rating on iTunes and a review.
You can also join our Facebook group and chat with other VGM lovers at www.facebook.com/groups/xvgmradio, where we talk about everything from current game news to sharing awesome VGM tracks, or just talking about the podcast itself.
And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle for both of those sites is @XVGMRadio.
If you don't have any other social media or just want to try something unique, check us out on our Discord group chat. Links will be in the show notes.
So what do we have next episode, Justin?
So next episode, in 2 weeks, episode 38, we are going to be doing an interview with another composer.
Sweet.
And we are going to be spotlighting on a game that came out somewhat recently.
Came out this year, so it's still pretty relevant.
Earlier in 2019. It is Shakedown Hawaii. We will be interviewing Matt Creamer.
Yes, we're going to be diving deep into the synthwave grooves of this episode. This is going to be truly epic and awesome. Make sure to bring your best sunglasses and your best
Hawaiian
shirts. Yes.
Yeah. And if you haven't checked the game out, I would suggest it. We've been playing it for a little while now, and it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's very reminiscent of Retro City Rampage, also by the same group of people.
True.
So it's a fun little game.
Also, if you haven't played it yet, and you're like, ooh, I want to buy it and play it beforehand, or oh, I'm going to go download the soundtrack and check it out beforehand, hold that dial. Listen to our episode first, because we are going to do a very, very, very special giveaway of not only the game, but also the soundtrack. So stay tuned for that. And not just one winner, multiple winners will be able to take that home.
That increases your chances of winning.
Yes, definitely. So, this is Mike
and Justin
signing off for XVGM Spooky Radio.
Clown shoes.
You may even call them goofy shoes.
Oh. No, Goofy wears goofy shoes.
You wear goofy shoes.
Nice.
Don't mix. This is not a peanut butter and bananas thing.
Is.
No. This is not a candy corn and pumpkin candy thing.
That's gross.
This is not a Reese's Pieces and Snickers thing.
I'd try it.
This is not
all right.
Mike and Ike and Good and Plenty thing.
Oh,
that's so disgusting.
This is not a Necco wafer and candy buttons thing.
My taste buds. They're broken.
Look at what you made me do, Mike.